Okay, so I will. My name is Professor Rahul Thawi. I welcome you to the very first lecture of thermodynamics. Okay, so I will in this lecture I will first brief you about what is the structure for the examination. Okay, what content will be covering throughout the course, and what are the outcomes that are required to be attained by the end of the course. Okay, so let's start first. So I'll be taking the subject, or I will be taking the course thermodynamics. Okay, so this might be the chapter for you in the 12th. Okay, in the chemistry. Okay, now this is introduced you as this subject. Okay, so we will start. I'll just first brief you. Oh, okay, what is there in the thermodynamics? What is the exam structure? What is expected from you? So that I will
सर वॉइस कट रही है.
that I will initially explain. Uh, eh, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So see, for those who are having the problem, I just request them to check their connections. Right. Okay. So I will start now with the thermodynamics. Okay. So for thermodynamics, what we will do? You have okay, internal assessment. For thermodynamics, you have internal assessment. Okay, internal assessment for 20 marks. You have internal assessment for 20 marks. Okay, what do you mean by internal assessment? This internal assessment, it is nothing but your UT1. Okay, I'll just write down. Okay, it is nothing but your unit test 1, okay, and your unit test 2, right? So we'll be conducting 2 UTs, that is unit test 1 and unit test 2, each for 20 marks. Okay, obviously this unit test 1 will be for 20 marks. This unit test 2, again it will be for 20 marks. Okay, and we will take the average of unit 1 and unit test 1 and unit test 2, and it will be obviously for 20 marks. So that is nothing but internal assessment we will do. Okay. Similarly, on the other hand side, we have, okay, your end semester exam. Okay, your end semester exam. On the other hand, you have end semester exam, and that is basically your university exam, right? University exam, end semester exam, or this is university exam. And this university exam, it is for it is for 80 marks. Okay, it is for 80 marks. So for this subject, you have 20 marks. Okay, internal assessment, and for that internal assessment, we'll be conducting 2 unit tests, unit test 1 and unit test 2. Each will be for 20 marks. Average will be taken, and that will be counted for 20 marks. You have end semester exam, that is basically university exam for 80 marks. So this total, the weightage for this course for the thermodynamics, it's 100 marks. Okay, so it is for 100 marks. Is that okay, all of you? Are you able to understand this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me brief you about what is expected from you by the completion of the course. What is expected from you by the completion of the course? And this is nothing but called as course outcomes. Okay, this is called as course outcomes. Okay, so what is expected from you, okay, by the end of this course? So what I expect, so I expect each of you should be able to demonstrate, each of you should be able to demonstrate the application of, laws of thermodynamics, laws of thermodynamics to wide range of systems, Try to understand, this is very important. Okay, now the things which I'm telling in this lecture, they will not be repeated further. Okay, so what is expected from you? What I expect from you by the completion of this course, that you should be able to apply the laws of thermodynamics. Okay, so which are the laws of thermodynamics? We have zeroth law, we have first law, we have second law. So all those law, initially we need to study, we need to understand those laws, and we need to apply what you have learned, okay, to wide range of systems. Okay, so you need to apply those laws for the boiler, for compressor, for turbine, for heat exchanger. So these are some of the mechanical devices to which you need to apply those laws of thermodynamics. So laws of thermodynamics, that means zeroth law, first law, second law. These law initially you need to understand, and once you have understood those laws, you need to apply it for the wide range of systems. And which are those systems? You might have refrigerator, you might have heat pump, you might have compressor, you might have boiler, you have heat exchanger, you have throttling devices. So all are those devices, or all are those systems to which you need to apply those laws. Okay, so are you able to understand this one? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now second, what I expect from you is you should be able to compute, you should be able to compute heat and work interactions, heat and work interactions heat and work interaction in thermodynamic system, in thermodynamic systems. Try to understand, this is very important. Okay, you should be able to compute the heat and work interaction in the thermodynamic system. What is the meaning of this? What is the simple meaning of this? Okay, let's take the example of IC engine, petrol engine. So to the petrol engine, you will be supplying the petrol. That petrol will be converted into heat. Okay, that petrol we are going to burn in the engine, right? The petrol we will be burning in the engine or in the cylinder, so that when you burn the petrol, the heat will be released. And due to that heat, what happens, the turbine, the what you can say, the piston will start moving, and when the piston will start moving, the power will be generated. Try to understand, when you burn the petrol, heat will be released, and that heat, what is being released, it is being used so as to move the piston. So heat we are converted into work, right? So when you give heat as an input, how much work you will get? Okay, that is the example of engine. So that is the thing in which we are interested. So let's say by supplying 10 kilojoule of heat, how much work we are getting out of that 10 kilojoule, how much heat it gets converted into work. Okay, we are interested to compute that. Is that okay, all of you? Is that okay? Let's say to the engine, I have supplied 10 kilojoule of heat. To the engine, I have supplied 10 kilojoule of heat. And out of that 10 kilojoule of heat, how much heat get converted into work? How much heat gets converted into work? Okay, so I'm interested to compute that. Okay, the reverse thing is also possible. When you supply the work, okay, for the devices like compressor, how much heat get converted? Also, we are interested to do that. So the vice versa, conversion of heat into work, it is also possible. Conversion of work into heat, it is also possible. And up to how much extent it is possible, we are interested to do that. Okay, so is that okay with this one? Are you able to understand? Second thing, what I
Yes,
expect
sir.
from you. Okay, now let's go to the third thing, or third outcome which I expect from you is you should be able to demonstrate, the interrelation, the interrelations between thermodynamic functions thermodynamic functions. Thermodynamic functions to solve practical problems. To solve practical problems. Try to understand. This is very important. Okay. So we need to understand the relationship between various thermodynamics functions. Okay. Now at this stage, you will not be able to understand. Okay. Which are the thermodynamic functions? So you might have Gibbs function. You have Helmholtz function. Okay. That we are going to see when will be starting with the course. Okay. Content of the course. Okay. Now just try to understand. What we are interested, we are interested to establish the relationship between the thermodynamic functions. Okay, and which are those functions? Like Helmholtz function, Gibbs function. So we are interested to demonstrate the relationship between the various functions. Okay, and what is the purpose to establish the relationship? The purpose is we are interested to solve the practical problems. Okay, we are not only related with the theoretical knowledge. We need to implement that for solving the practical problems. Right? So this is what expected from the third outcome. Now I'll go to the fourth outcome. Fourth outcome, you should be able to use the steam table. Okay, each of you should be able to use a steam table and Moliere chart. Okay, and Moliere chart. You should be able to use the steam table and Moliere chart to compute thermodynamic interactions. Try to understand this one. Okay, each of you should be able to use the steam table. Each of you should be able to use steam table. What is steam table? Okay, I'll just give you the simple example. What is steam table? Let's say now let's say what is the atmospheric pressure? Our atmospheric pressure is 1.013 bar. Try to understand. Okay, now atmospheric pressure. What is our atmospheric pressure? 1.013 bar. Okay, this is the atmospheric pressure. Now what I'm asking, you just take a water in the pot. Let's say, just put that pot on a gas and just start heating that pot. What will happen? Can anybody tell me what will happen? I'm just telling you, you just take water, you put that water into a pot, okay, and just start heating that pot on the, let's say, on the gas stove. Okay, can you tell me what will happen with that water?
Bubbles.
Okay, see, right. See what will happen? The temperature of the water will start rising. Okay, the temperature of the water will start rising slowly. Okay, and once the water has reached 100 degrees Celsius, what happens is that water will be get converted into vapor. Right? When the water reaches 100 degrees Celsius, which is basically the boiling point, or we are calling this as the saturation point. Okay, at that point, that is at 100 degrees Celsius, the water will be get converted into vapor. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? If you heat the water at 1.013 bar, okay, that is basically the atmospheric pressure. Okay, the water will begins to boil at 100 degrees Celsius. That each of you know. Okay, because if you start heating the water, okay, in the atmosphere, which is basically at 1.013 bar pressure, what happens? The water will begins to boil at 100 degrees Celsius, right? That each of you know. Now I'm asking you, if you heat the water at 2 bar, okay, now pressure is changed. Then at what temperature the water will begins to boil? Can anybody tell? Can anybody tell this thing to me? See, when the pressure was 1.013 bar, the water started to boil at 100 degrees Celsius. Now I change the pressure. Now I change the pressure to 2 bar. Then at what temperature the water will begins to boil? Okay. If you change the pressure to how? How? You can't directly double it. That is the thing.
सर 100 ही रहेगा.
No, no. See, that is the reason why this steam table is required. Try to understand. That is the reason why this steam table is required. So what the steam table will give you? The steam table will give you, okay, if the pressure is 2 bar, then at what temperature the water will begins to boil. If the pressure is 3 bar, then at what temperature the water will begins to boil. At 4 bar, okay, at what temperature the water will begins to boil. So everything that is mentioned in the steam table. Is that okay? Is that okay, all of you? Is that okay to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is the reason. That is the reason why steam table is required. Steam table, okay, it will talks about the properties of steam. Okay, so it will give you everything regarding the steam. Okay, so we will go into the detail for that in the 4th chapter. This is basically related with the 4th chapter. Okay, on the similar hand, we have Mollier chart. In Mollier chart, there are it is also basically known as the HS diagram, enthalpy entropy diagram. I will go into the detail of that more specifically in the 4th chapter. I will not go into the detail now. Okay, so you try to understand. The brief idea is you should be able to use the steam table. Okay. So now I will go to the next point or next outcome. Okay, I expect each of you should be able to compute. Okay, each of you should be able to compute the efficiencies. Compute the efficiencies of heat engines, okay, comma power cycles, okay. Now see, the basic idea is no device is 100% efficient, right? Efficiency of every device, it is less than always 100%, right? Efficiency of every device is always less than 100%. The reason behind is that, okay, total input is not been converted into output, right? You are not able to convert 100% input into 100% output because there are some losses. There are some losses.
Second law.
Okay, right. That is the reason we need to go for second law. Exactly. So that is the reason why we need to calculate efficiency. So efficiency, it basically evaluates, okay, the effectiveness of the device. Okay, how much device is efficient. That is nothing but called as efficiency. Okay, so let's say your efficiency, what you have calculated, it is 50%. That means the device is only 50% efficient. Okay, if you're given 20 as input, it will convert only out of 20, it will convert only 10 into output, right? When you give 20 as input, okay, you're getting the output as 10. Okay, so 10 by 20, it is nothing but your efficiency. Is that okay? Is that okay to all of you? Efficiency, see, basic formula. What is the formula for efficiency? It's basically the output by input. Okay, so when you supply 20 as an input, you are getting 10 as an output. So 10 by 20, that is 50%. It is nothing but your efficiency, right? Is that okay? So we are
Yes, sir.
interested to calculate the efficiencies, okay? And you will get the efficiencies only for the power producing devices. Try to understand. Efficiency will be calculated only for power producing devices. And which are those devices? Like engine. Engine is a power producing device. Turbine is again a power producing device, right? So you will get efficiencies only for turbines or engines, which are basically the power producing devices, right? If you go for the devices like a refrigerator, right? Refrigerator, it doesn't produces the power, rather it consumes the power, that is electricity, right? So for refrigerator, we are not able to calculate the efficiency. Okay, for refrigerator, we are not able to calculate the efficiency. And for refrigerator, we need to go for COP, that is called as coefficient of performance. Okay, so that we are going to see in detail in the second chapter. You try to understand. We are interested to evaluate the performance of the devices. Okay, so when we need to evaluate the performance of the engines, we need to calculate efficiency. Try to understand. Is that okay? Is it okay to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'll go to the next thing which I expect from each of you. Okay. Now, sixth thing which I expect from each of you is you should be able to apply. You should be able to apply fundamentals. You should be able to apply the fundamentals. You should be able to apply the fundamentals of compressible fluid flow, of compressible fluid flow to the relevant system, to the relevant system, Try to understand. So we are interested to apply the fundamentals of compressible fluid flow. Okay, so in detail, this is the sixth chapter basically. Okay, apply the fundamentals of compressible fluid flow. This is basically the sixth chapter, right? So in this, we'll be seeing the terms, okay, like match numbers. Okay, so that will be basically useful in compressible fluid flow. Okay, so we'll go to the detail into that. So this is basically the part of advanced thermodynamics. Okay, so this chapter or this outcome, it is basically related with the sixth chapter, and which basically belongs to the advanced thermodynamics. Okay, so are you able to understand what I expect from you at the end of the course? Okay, first you should be able to apply the laws of the thermodynamics to the various systems. You should be able to calculate the heat and work interactions. You should be able to demonstrate the interrelation between the thermodynamic functions. You should be able to use the steam table and Moulin diagrams. Okay, you should be able to compute the efficiency of the heat engine and power cycles. And at the last, you should be able to apply the fundamentals of the compressible fluid flow to the relevant system. Is that okay with everyone? Is that okay? Have you understood this one? Each of you, let me know. Have you understood this one?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So see, these are the things which I expect from you, right? These are the things which I expect from you by the completion of the course, right? So these things you will not be able to get it, okay, until and unless we have content. Okay, we have content for the thermodynamics. Okay, until and unless we have the content for the thermodynamics, right? So let me start with the chapters. Okay, chapters I will write down. At the same time, I will also write down the modules. Okay, so let me start with the first module. Okay, I'll just first brief you what is there in the modules. Okay, and then we will starting with the our first module. Okay, so I'll first brief you what is the content. Okay, so if you just talk about the first module, in first module, okay, we have two chapters, and that is basic concept. Okay, basic concepts. Okay, basic concepts and first law of thermodynamics. Basic concept and first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so that is what is expected in the first module. So we will go like this one. Okay, so in the first module, okay, we will see what are the basic concept of in the thermodynamics. At the same time, okay, we will first learn the first law of thermodynamics. We will first learn the first law of thermodynamics, and after that we will try to apply, or we will apply the first law of thermodynamics for various systems like boiler, condenser, heat exchanger, okay, so compressors. So for those devices, we'll be applying the first law of thermodynamics. So first thing is we will clear our fundamental concept through basic concept, and once we were able to clear with those concepts, we will learn the first law, and then we will apply the first law for the devices like compressor, heat exchanger, turbine, boiler. Okay, so for those devices, is that okay? Okay. So now we will go for this second module. I will explain the second module. The second module, it talks about the second law of thermodynamics. Try to understand. It talks about the second law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics. Try to understand this one. Okay, so the second module, it talks about the second law of thermodynamics and entropy. Second law of thermodynamics and entropy. Try to understand. See, this is very important. Second law of thermodynamics and entropy. See, let me clear you. See, in basic concept, we will learn the zeroth law of thermodynamics. In basic concept, we will learn the zeroth law of thermodynamics. But zeroth law, it is having some disadvantages. That is the reason why we are learning first law of thermodynamics. Okay. Now, once we have learned the first law of thermodynamics, still it is having some disadvantages. That is the reason why we will go for second law of thermodynamics. Is that okay? Is that okay? See, zeroth law will have some limitations. Zeroth law will have some limitations. That is the reason why we will go for first law. Again, first law will have some limitations. Then we'll go for second law of thermodynamics. Okay, and along with the second law, okay, we will see the extension of that second law, and that is basically the entropy. Okay, that we will see. Okay, once we have finished with the second law, right? Now, after that, once we have finished with the second law, okay, the third thing which we'll see is, or the third module which we'll be seeing is availability. Okay, availability. Okay, availability and thermodynamic relations. Try to understand availability and thermodynamic relations. Availability and thermodynamic relations. Try to understand. See, availability. What is the meaning of availability? Availability is basically how much work is available. How much work is available, and how out of that available work, okay, how much we are using. Okay, so that is a basic concept. Availability is how much is available. Okay, and out of that available, how much we are using. Okay, so these two are the different things. So that is the reason why we are learning the availability. And next thing, we will be learning the thermodynamic relations. Thermodynamic relations. So you can see, the thermodynamic relations, they are related with this course outcomes. Okay, so this course outcome, that is the demonstrate the interrelationship between thermodynamic functions to solve the practical problems. So this course outcome, it is related with this module. Okay, this module, right? So that is nothing but your third module, availability and thermodynamic relations. Okay, next we will go for fourth module, and that is basically the properties. Okay, properties of pure substance. Try to understand properties of pure substance, right? So we will see the properties. Okay, what are the properties of pure substance? And pure substance, basically we are going to consider it as a water. Okay, water. So when you see, if you just take the solid form of water, we are calling it as ice. Okay, when it is liquid, we are calling it as a water, and when it is vapor, we are calling it as a steam. Okay, so one is ice, then it is water, and then it is vapor, right? And that is nothing but steam, right? So for all those phases, okay, solid, liquid, vapor, so these are nothing but phases. So for those phases, we'll see their properties, like what is the enthalpy, what is the entropy, what is the volume, what is the transfaction. Okay, so all those properties we'll be seeing in the fourth module. And at the same time, we will extend these properties for vapor power cycle. Try to understand. For vapor power cycle, right? So what is vapor power cycle? By using the vapor, we will be generating the power, right? So by using the vapor, we will generate the power, right? So whatever the vapor that is available, okay, or steam that is available, so with the help of that steam, we need to produce a power. Okay, what do you mean by steam? The steam will be having heat. Okay, the steam will have some heat. So that heat we need to convert into power. Okay, what is power? It is nothing but work. So whatever the heat that is there, we need to convert that heat into work. Okay, so for that some mechanical device it is required, and that is called as turbine. Okay, so how to convert the vapor into power? So from vapor you can convert, okay, or from the vapor you can produce a power by using the device like turbine. Okay, so that we are going to see in the 4th chapter. Okay, so whatever the heat that is available with the vapor, that heat we are going to utilize so as to generate a power. And who is going to do that? That thing will be done by turbine. Okay, so in detail we are going to see in this particular chapter, right? Okay, so next thing we will go for fifth module, and that is gas power cycle. Try to understand. That is gas power cycle. Okay, so now see here, by taking the vapor we are producing the power. Here by considering the gas, or by using the gas, we are producing the power. Is that okay? Is that okay with this one? By using the gas we are producing the power. Is that okay? All of
Okay,
you?
sir.
Okay, now see, which are the gases? Which are the gases? If you just take the example of petrol, okay, or diesel. So when we'll burn the petrol, obviously gases will be released. Okay, so with those gases, we will produce a power, right? Similarly, when you burn the diesel, the gases will be produced, and with those gases, we will produce a power, right? So who is going to do this? Who is going to do this? It will be done by IC engine. It is called as internal combustion engine. Okay, so for gas power cycle, we will be utilizing IC engine, internal combustion engine. That might be either petrol engine or diesel engine. Okay, petrol engine or diesel engine, right? So for that, okay, those petrol engine or diesel engine will be running on gas power cycle, right? So then only we will get power. Is that okay? Is that okay to each of you? Let me know. Is that okay or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the sixth module which we'll be seeing is a compressible fluid flow. Is a compressible fluid flow. Compressible fluid flow. So as I told you, this module, it is basically the part of advanced thermodynamics, right? So now if I tell you those terms, you might not be able to understand, like Mash number, stagnation pressure. Okay, so there are different things, okay, which stands fundamentals for the compressible fluid flow, and that we are going to see in the chapter number 6. Okay, so this is a contained what is expected. So these are basically the modules. These are the modules which will be covering during the course of the thermodynamics. So when you complete with these modules, or when you are able to understand all those 6 modules, then only you will be able to do all those outcomes, or you will be able to perform these outcomes, right? So when you have very good understanding of these chapters or these modules, then only you will be able to do these things. Okay, then only you will be able to do these things. Is that okay? All of you, is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. So see, what I done, I just given you the bird's eye view. Okay, I just brief you. Okay, what I expect from you. Okay, and for that expectation, okay, what content we have it for thermodynamics. Okay, that is that in brief I have explained. Okay, now we will go in detail, okay, for each chapter. Okay, I will take each chapter in detail. Okay, so when we'll go through that chapter, the things becomes more and more easy, okay, for you. Okay, so this is the brief content for the thermodynamics. Okay, so see, for our subject thermodynamics, we have only lectures. Okay, there is no practical session for the thermodynamics. Okay, so our total weightage, it is 100 marks, 20 marks for your UT and 80 marks for your end semester examination. Okay, so see, each of you, you should have the calculator installed, okay, in your mobile. Okay, many of you, you have already have purchased the calculator. If not, okay, you can purchase or you can download this calculator, okay, from the Play Store, right? So anyway, you can do, either you have it in a physical, okay, or you can have it in the form of app that you can use. Is that okay? So calculator, it is must, okay, for solving the problems. And let me clear you very frankly, okay, this subject, it's a purely mathematical or numerical based. Okay, so subject, it's purely numerical based, rather you can call it as numerical based. Okay, so I am interested more in the problem solving. Okay, so that is the reason why each of you should have calculator, either a calculator with you, might be in the physical, might be in the form of app, in anything will work. Okay, each of you, you should solve the problem, okay, with me. Then only you'll be able to do that. Otherwise, if you feel that you will do it in the later on, the things becomes very difficult, right? Ultimately, every answer which we'll get, okay, we will try to compare or we will try to validate the answer. Immediately we will check whatever the answer we got, it's correct or not. Okay, so you doesn't need to okay, you doesn't need to wait for me to check the answer, right? You can able to understand whether the answer which you have got is correct or not. Okay, so this thing will be possible only and only when each of you have the calculator, right? So that is must for you. Is that okay? And see, during the lectures, what I will do is I will just okay, explain you everything. Okay, and I at the last of the, or at the end of the session, I will just share these notes with you on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so after the lecture gets over, okay, in the evening, okay, you can write down this content in your notebook. Okay, and you can practice the same thing. Okay, but during the lecture, I just advise you not to write down because it will take some time. So that time will be utilizing for understanding. Is that okay? So after the completion of every lecture, I will post these images in your WhatsApp group. Okay, and at the evening, okay, once your all lectures get over, you can just copy this thing in your notebook. So when you're writing, at the same time, you will be able to understand, right? So in both the way that things can be worked out. During lecture, you more focus on understanding the concept, application, okay, and at the evening, you just write down these things in your notebook, okay. So at that time, you'll be able to revise it, okay, then things becomes more easy. Okay, is that okay, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that is the thing which I expect from you. Now I'll just now start, okay, with our actual content, and that is basically the what we used to have it. Okay, that is basically our first chapter and basic concept and first law of thermodynamics. So that we will start it now. Okay, so that we will start it now. Okay, so I will start now with the okay, I will start now with the first module. I will start now with the module number 1. Okay, module number 1. And in module number 1, we have 2 chapters. Okay, so I'll start with this chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1. Okay, and our chapter number 1, it is basic concepts. Okay, basic concept. Let me clear you. See, this is very important. Whatever the things that have been told to you in this chapter, they are very important. And these things will be used throughout the 6 modules. See, if you just see the 6 modules which are there, okay, if you have good understanding of basic concept, okay, then you will be able to understand all the modules clearly, because everything everything that I'll be briefing you in the basic concept will be useful in every module of the thermodynamics, right? So this is very important. Okay, so basic concept, it's very important thing, and each of you should pay a proper attention for that, right? So let me start with the basic concepts. Okay, so we'll start now with the basic concept. So basic idea is, first you should understand, okay, what is thermodynamics? Okay, so what is thermodynamics? So that you should understand. This is only the name of the subject, right? Name of your course. Okay, so you should be able to understand what is thermodynamics. So you have this chapter in the chemistry in the 12th standard, right? So can anybody tell me what is thermodynamics? Can anybody have any idea what is thermodynamics?
Motion of heat.
Right. See, portion of heat. So your definition is up to some extent it is correct. Some extent it is correct, right? Because what you are told is it's a portion of heat, right? Heat, right? So it is obviously it is related with
Portion
the
is
heat.
motion of
Yes,
heat.
it's a motion of heat. Okay, no problem. So obviously it is related with the heat, right? See, thermodynamics, it is obviously related with the heat, but it
The
is
study
not
of
only related with heat,
energy.
it is also related with work. Try to understand. See, if you just only talks about heat, it is no way useful. The heat you can only use for some drying application. Okay, but only heat it is not useful. It is necessary and mandatory to convert heat into work. Then only it will be useful, right? So if I need to define the thermodynamics, so it is the science of, okay, it is the science of, it is the science of energy transfer. It's the science of energy transfer. Try to understand. It is a science of energy transfer. Now see, energy, it's a very broad term. Energy, it's a very broad term. It's the science of energy transfer. And what is energy? Okay, energy, it is nothing but heat and work. Okay, so energy can be of two types, either heat or work. So I'll write down particularly heat or work. Okay, particularly heat or work. So if you talk about the thermodynamics, it is a science of what? Energy transfer. And energy, it is nothing but heat and work. So energy can be either heat or it can be either work. Okay, so we are dealing with this science of energy transfer. Okay, and its effect on physical properties and its effect on physical properties of substance. Okay, so let me clear you this definition. See, if you talk about thermodynamics, it's a science of energy transfer. Okay, so what is energy transfer? Let me clear. See, energy, if you talk about the energy, okay, this energy, it can be either heat or it can be either work. Try to understand. This energy, it can be either heat or it can be work, right? You can convert, let me clear you. You can convert heat into work. Okay, how to convert the heat into work? These devices are called as engines. Okay, if I brief you, these are called as heat engines. These devices are called as heat engines, right? So we can convert the heat into work, okay, by means of heat engines. Okay, now the reverse case is also possible. You can convert the work into heat. You can convert the work into heat. And which are the devices which converts the work into heat? They are called as reversed heat engine. Try to understand. They are called as reversed heat engines. They are called as reversed heat engines. Try to understand. The devices which converts the heat to work, they are called as heat engine. Okay, and the devices which converts work into heat, they are called as reverse heat engine. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay. Now let me clear you. Which are the heat engines? Which are the heat engine? You can take the example of IC engine. See, heat engines, they are IC engine. I will just write down. Heat engines, they are IC engines. Okay, internal combustion engines. Okay, they are internal combustion engines, right? So heat to work, it is being done by heat engine, for example, IC engine. And work to heat, when we need to convert work into heat, we require reverse heat engine. And those reverse heat engine, okay, they are refrigerators. Are you able to understand? They are refrigerators. Okay, in refrigerator, we need to supply electricity. Okay, and electricity, it is used to run a compressor, right? Electricity, it is used to run a compressor. And compressor will produce a work. Okay, and as a result of this, the heat will be abstracted. So we are converting work into heat, and that is nothing but a reverse heat engine. For example, refrigerator. Is that okay? Is that okay with this? Let me clear. Is that okay with this one?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now see, I see you try to have a basic understanding. Energy can be of two types. One is heat and one it is work. Right? Now when you need to convert heat into work, when we are supposed to convert heat into work, we require heat engine. Right? And that is basically known as IC engine. But when we need to convert work into heat, we require refrigerator. Okay, and this refrigerator, it is called as reverse heat engine. Second example, if I give you, it is called as heat pump. Second example, if I give you, it is called as heat pump. It's a reverse heat engine. Okay, I can give you the example of compressor. Okay, it is again a reverse heat engine. So these devices are reverse heat engines, which converts work into heat. Okay, if I give you one more example which converts heat into work, okay, it's a turbine. I will write down one more example, turbine. Okay, so devices like turbine, IC engine, these are basically known as heat engines. They convert heat into work. Now question will be, what is heat and what is work? Right? What is heat and what is work? Right? I say I'll just give a simple example. Just take let's take one steel ball. Okay, let's take a steel ball which is at 100 degrees Celsius. Let's say just take one steel ball which is at 100 degrees Celsius. That steel ball you put into the water which is at 40 degrees Celsius. Right? 100 degrees Celsius steel ball you put into the water at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, let me give you some example. Let's consider this steel ball. Let's consider the steel ball. Okay, let's consider the steel ball. Okay, which is at 100 degrees Celsius. Right? And that steel ball you put into the water. Okay, that steel ball you put into the water which is at 40 degrees Celsius. Right? That steel ball we're going to put into the water at 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, and what happens? Let's say you observe that. Let's say after 10 seconds, you observe that after 10 seconds. So after 10 seconds, what happens? Okay, what happens with the temperature of the steel ball? See, the temperature of the steel ball will start decreasing. See, when you put the steel ball, which is at 100 degrees Celsius, into the water, which is at 40 degrees Celsius, okay, so what happens? The temperature of the steel ball will start decreasing and the temperature of the water will start increasing. Is that okay? Because see, naturally what happens? The heat will be transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature. So what happens? The steel ball will start giving its heat to the water. So see, when you see, let's consider this as a 0 second. Okay, zero second. Okay, so at 0 second, when you put the steel ball into the water, the temperature of the steel ball was 100 and temperature of the water was 40. After 10 seconds, what happens is the temperature of the steel ball has dropped down, let's say dropped down to 90 degrees Celsius, And let's say the temperature of the water is increased to 45 degrees Celsius. Try to understand. Is increased to 45 degrees Celsius. Let's say after 20 seconds, what happens? Okay, this temperature has dropped down to 80 degrees Celsius. Let's say 80 degrees Celsius. And let's say this got increased to 50 degrees Celsius. 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's say after 30 seconds, try to understand. After 30 seconds, this temperature got dropped to 70 degrees Celsius. Okay, and let's say this got increased to, let's say, 60 degrees Celsius. 60 degrees Celsius, right? Okay, let's say now after 40 seconds, what happens? This 70 got dropped to 65 degrees Celsius. 65 degrees Celsius, and now this got increased to 65 degrees Celsius. Is that okay? Is that okay with all of you? Are you able to understand what I need to convey? See, when here the temperature was 100, here temperature was 40. So what was the difference? 40 minus 100 minus 40, that is 60. So there was a temperature difference. So what happens? So whenever there is a temperature difference, the heat will flow. So when the heat has flown, what happens? This temperature got dropped down to 90. This temperature got increased to 45, right? Now still there is a temperature difference. And what is the temperature difference? 90 minus 45. So still there is a temperature difference, that is 90 minus 45. So heat starts flowing. So this got dropped down to 80. This got increased to 50. Now still there is a temperature difference. What is that? 80 minus 50. That is what? 30 degrees Celsius is the temperature difference. So what will happen? The heat will flow again. So this got dropped down to 70. This got increased to 60. Now still there is a temperature difference. That is 70 minus 60. So what happens? Again, this will drop down to 65 and this got increased to 65. Now what happens? Both the temperatures are equal. So when both the temperatures are equal, there is no any temperature difference. So further heat will not flow. Okay, so let me write down this. So further, okay, further heat will not flow. Why heat will not flow? Because there is no temperature difference. Is that okay? Is that okay with this one? Why the
छोटा
heat
सा
will not
doubt
flow?
था
Yeah, okay.
सर इनकंसिस्टेंसी क्यों है टेम्परेचर डिफरेंस के अंदर
Yeah. That is a good question. See, this 100 got decreased to 90. So what do you expect? This 40 should be increased to 50, right?
यस सर
See, what do you expect? This got dropped down to 10. Then this should also increase to 10. See, this will not happen because there are certain properties which will govern the heat flow. Okay. So it's not necessary that this got dropped down to 40. This got dropped down to 10. So this should also increase to 10 only. Okay, because see, what is the formula for heat? It is MC. Okay, so mass will also play some picture, na? Mass will also take some value. Is that okay? Whatever the mass, okay, or whatever the volume of the water that is available, okay, it will have also some effect on the temperature rise, na? Is that okay or not?
यस सर
Okay. So that is the reason. It's not required that when it dropped by 10, it should also increase by 10. It's not required. See, when we'll take the actual problem, see, this is a rough, with the rough data I told you. When we'll see the actual practical problem, at that time, you will be able to more understand it. See, this is as per my what you can say. Just roughly, I have taken these values. But when we'll see the practical problem, at that time, you will be able to understand more. Okay, so because it will also depend upon mass, what amount of mass you have. You have 4 kg of mass. Okay, so the temperature variation might be different. But if you have 2 kg of mass, temperature variation will be different. Right? Now see, this is all about heat. Now question will be what is about work. Okay, so this thing work, okay, we will cover, okay, in the next lecture, right? So are you able to understand what has been taken in the today's lectures? Okay, is that okay to all of you?
Yes.
So see, initial purpose to for the today's lecture is to brief you, okay, about what is the structure for thermodynamics, okay, what are the outcomes that are required to be attained at the end of the course. For that, what content we have, and finally we have started with our first module. Okay, so in the next lecture I will more be focusing on work, then what is system, what is surrounding, what is boundary, then types of systems. Okay, so we will go into the detail of each and every term. So is that okay, all of you? What has been taken in today's lecture? Is that okay? So today we will stop in this section, and in this next session we will try to or we will start with the work, and followed by thermodynamic system, thermodynamic surrounding. Okay, all those things we will see.